welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a tutorial about how to make a life cast of your own face at home. It's not an easy process. It does take plenty of time, so make sure if you're going to do it, you have plenty of time on your hands, preferably a few days. And I also recommend not trying this if you're not familiar with any of the products I'm going to be using, such as Plaster and Silicone and Plaster bandaging. I recommend trying it out and practicing on objects before actually doing it on your face. You can even try testing it out on your hands or your arms. Just something a little more smaller and easier so you can get just an idea and make sure you don't have any allergic reactions to any of the products. So in order to make a life cast, like the one I have, there's a list of products you're going to be needing. I will share the list with you guys, and I will also share links to where you can purchase a lot of the stuff online in case, you know, you don't want to go out to get it, or there is nowhere where you live that you can go out and get it. So a life cast is an exact replica of your face. As you can see, look pretty similar. Special effects makeup artists use life casts in order to sculpt and make prosthetics that are gonna fit the person's face to an exact. So what you'll do with a life cast is after it's finished, you will put clay on it and sculpt and make a prosthetic however you wish for it to look. And then you will put a cast basically over the clay, and that will give you a negative of the clay that you sculpted, and then you will fill that negative with another product such as silicone or gelatin or foam latex, and then once that's dry, it will be a positive, which will be the prosthetic you will use to apply. I will make a video about how to go about sculpting and making your own prosthetics, but for now, I'll teach you how to make one of these since you need one of these first anyways. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I will be showing you two options to make a life cast, one using plaster and one using silicone. Here are the items list for each option. So the first thing you will need to do is clean your face with a makeup wipe to rid it of any makeup or excess oils. Once your face is clean, it's time to put your hair up, which we will be wrapping with plastic wrap. Lots of fun. Stop trying so hard to win my face. You like to hang around different dudes. Once your hair is tightly secured under the plastic wrap and away from your face, it's time to apply Vaseline to your entire face area, paying specific detail to your eyelashes and eyebrows and any other place where you might have hair. When you're gone, it's me, no one else but me. Get the hint, you're out to the side, come on, step away. You can call me out. You got excuses for everything. I'm the muse, you can't steal my wind. Put a pin in it, set your lips on the real eclipse. Don't look at me in the sexy light. That's the reek of my skin. Once your fuzzy face babies are all protected with Vaseline, it's time for the plaster bandage wrap. Begin by cutting the bandages into strips that are the same length of your face that you would like to cover. Dip it in water, being sure not to oversaturate, and then begin applying it to a section of your face. You don't stand a chance. Secure it in place by smoothing it down with your fingers, much like a paper mache volcano. We all know you made one. Don't lie. Now just repeat this process with the rest of your face, starting with the outer edge and working your way in.
Step away, you can call me out. When you're gone, it's me, no one else but me. Get the hint, you're out. To the side, come on, step away. You can call me out. No one else but me. You can call me out. To the side, come on, no one else but me. Get the hint, you're out.
Once you come to your nose, cut a small strip and place it vertically across the bridge of your nose, making sure not to cover up those breathing holes, like I almost did. When applying it over your mouth, be sure to leave your lips in a resting position and press firmly to achieve a good imprint into the plaster. Once you've reached your eyes, apply the plaster one eye at a time, making sure to keep your eyes firmly closed to avoid any plaster leaking in. And be sure to also press down firmly on the inner corners to avoid any lifting. Once you've applied the plaster to your entire face, it's time to wait for it to dry. Dry time usually takes 15 to 20 minutes, so be sure to entertain yourself. Once the plaster feels dry, begin blowing air out through your mouth and making as many facial expressions as you can to loosen its grip. Once it feels loose enough, begin pulling downwards. And don't forget to rip or cut the plastic wrap off the back of your head so that you may remove it completely.
I see a sky with a rainy car, but I'm not running. I see a train moving all too fast, but I'm not leaving. And you go round and round and round, and you cannot see. I'll be right behind you, walking the tree. You look so beautiful.
At this point, I had paused filming to go and wash my face because it was crusty with plaster and I wasn't having it. After letting the plaster dry for a few hours, it's time to go back in to reinforce it by adding more bandages in the areas in which you can see light peeking through. reinforced with extra bandage, it's time to go in and reinforce it with something stronger. I used this mesh wire, but you may also use cotton.
Right behind you like a drone in the sky. You look so beautiful today, now the game is changing.
You will do this technique by placing the wire or cotton on top and then going over it with more plaster bandage. And don't forget to plug up the nose holes so that nothing leaks out when we begin casting. Once you're done reinforcing it, it's time to set it aside and let it completely dry. So for the silicone option, you're going to want to cover yourself with a trash bag because there will be a lot of dripping. And then you'll repeat the process the same way we did with the plaster by cleaning your face and removing any piercings or jewelry that you may be wearing that can get caught or in the way.
I want you to know you are everywhere I go.
And once again, it's time to plastic wrap your hair.
It's happening again.
Once your hair is wrapped, it's time to apply Vaseline to your face. Paying extra attention to your eyelashes and eyebrows because silicone does grip a lot more than plaster.
And what could have been? In a lot of ways I am still 17.
Once the Vaseline is generously applied, it's time to begin mixing the silicone. I am using smooth on body double silicone that's safe for the skin, and it has an average to medium working time, so you may have to work somewhat quickly. Before mixing the silicone, put on some gloves because it tends to get sticky icky before it's mixed. And I also recommend pre-cutting some plaster bandage because you will need it after the silicone's applied. When mixing silicone, you'll pour equal parts of both A and B and then mix them together. If you're using the smooth on body double silicone like I am, you'll notice that it begins to turn a purple color once it's completely mixed. Once it's completely mixed, it's time to grab a stick, and you'll use that stick to apply it to your face. Or pour, either way. You will apply the silicone the same way you applied the plaster, by starting on the outer edges, working your way in, and ending with the eyes last. If you notice your silicone is getting tacky and thick, it means that your working time is running out and you may need to mix some more before proceeding. At this point, you should look like some kind of goop monster, and if you do, that's good. It means it's time to move on to the eyes. When applying it to the eyes, it's going to want to naturally gravitate downwards, so you may have to tilt your head in order to keep it from oozing all the way down to your chin. As it looks in my face, I have a goopy beard. It's alright, we all need goopy beards once in a while. Once your face is nice and ugly, it's time to let it dry, which is typically about 20 minutes. And if you'd like, you can use this time to, talk to your demons.
Hey demons, it's me, your boy.
Once the silicone feels dry, it's time to start applying the plaster bandage around it to give it more support when casting it. You're going to have to do this without any eyes unless you have someone that can assist you, so know where everything is in case you're doing it by yourself. Now this plaster doesn't have to be applied evenly or perfectly. You just need to be able to get it on there and cover up most surface area to give the silicone the support it's going to need.
Why won't you tell me something new? You waited for someone to save you and left me all alone. I want to tell you something new. Drove us both into a wall, but we only heard one It's the longest night of my life, and the longest goodbye I've cried. I drive away into the night, and
Once you've waited for the plaster to dry, you may begin using the same techniques we used before by making many facial expressions and blowing throughout your mouth to get it to lift, and then slightly start pulling downwards, and don't forget to remove the plastic wrap from behind your head. Once it's been removed, it should look something like this, and you may go back over the spots you missed with plaster, like I did underneath the nose. Upon inspection, you may notice some leftover makeup residue, or in my case, a couple of eyelashes, which is why it's really important to saturate your eyelashes with Vaseline, but not too much to where the silicone won't stick.
And the strongest way I can say, I wish you all the best I can, that I stop myself for a while.
So I will be using Plaster for this tutorial because I am currently out of Alginate. So you'll mix 2 parts Plaster to 1 part cold water, and then you just mix that together until it's not lumpy anymore. So once your plaster or alginate is completely mixed, it's time to pour it into the cast. Carefully. As you can see, I didn't, and it splattered everywhere, which is why it's a good idea to have down a tarp or a towel or something you don't care about getting ruined, especially if you're doing this inside like I happen to be.
Joining us today live on set, a special guest.
Please welcome Java! Goodbye.
Once the plaster or alginate's dry, it's time to begin removing the outer casing of silicone or plaster from the positive cast. You will do this by lifting the corners and pulling downward. Once the plaster has been removed from the silicone casting, it makes it a lot easier to just lift and pull the silicone off from the positive cast. One of the cool things about a silicone mold is that you can save it and reuse it again later on, unlike a plaster cast where you can't reuse it. Removing the plaster from the plaster cast is going to take a lot more muscle than the silicone did, and you will not be able to save the plaster that we originally created. You will most likely have to rip and pull it and break it in order to get the positive plaster cast out. here's a comparison of the plaster bandage cast on the left and the silicone cast on the right. As you can see, the silicone has much more detail and is much more lifelike than the plaster bandage one, which is why I chose to continue working on the silicone version and decided to put aside the plaster bandage. But you may choose whichever one you like better depending on how the outcome is. Because plaster doesn't define as much details as Alginate does, we're going to have to do some refinement. By doing so, you're going to need either a Dremel or some sandpaper or both, and you're just going to refine the edges and rough corners and extra pieces of plaster that are sticking up where they shouldn't be.
If I had you on my side, come and seal your fate till the end of my desire.
First, you will be applying some clear acrylic top coat. Once the top coat is dry, you will be applying 2 coats of wood glue. Wait for the first coat to dry before you apply the second.
Like I did the other night, when it hurts the most, you're the reason I'm alive. It burns like poison rain, and we're stuck on a moving train. In time there will be no pain. We're just out in a poison rain.
It'll be slightly yellowish neutral color as so, but after this has dried completely, you are ready to use it for sculpting prosthetics, which I will make another video about eventually, how to sculpt and make your own prosthetics. So yeah, that's how it turned out. If you guys have any questions or comments, you can go ahead and send them my way, and I will do my best to answer with the knowledge that I know
My bowl is empty.
to my best extent.
Did you hear me?
But other than that, thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe.